everyone, welcome back. My name's Trish. If you don't already know me, I work at Schumacher Racing, and when I come onto YouTube to try and help you all, I want to give you information that will get you going a little bit better, let's say, and a little bit more knowledgeable at the end of it. And I'll do to my best ability help you with all of this. I want to talk to you about speed controllers on this one, and to be precise, so talk about the Flow X. Let's get that in focus. Can we do that? There we go. That's the Flow X speed controller by LRP. It's a very, very nice speed controller. There's something special about that blue colour. Don't know exactly what it is, but it looks very, very nice when it's in your cars. I've been asked by quite a few races about the settings, about what they do and why they should run, well, whatever setting. So I'm going to go through them and just tell you my view of what they do for you. Okay, so what you'll normally do is you'll fire your speedo up and you'll look at it and you'll have the lights that you can press, not the lights but the buttons that you can press to then get the different lights to come on. We don't have a program box in this, which makes the big advantage of when you're walking to the track thinking, I forgot to set my speedo. You can do it in such a short amount of time right there, as well as if someone's just done a practice lap and there's like literally 45 seconds before the race starts, then bring the car over, can have a bit more power, yep, no problem, and you can change it very, very quickly. And that's one thing I really like about the LRP system. So this is the Flow X. It's got the 3.2 software in it, which is the off-road software, and I'm going to give you some advice on how that gets you around, as well as mention the stock software which I use for my stock racing for the buggies. But when we're doing mod, I'll give you some settings on that. I'm going to go through bit by bit. So now you're going to hold the mode button, and that will, obviously the speed controller is already on. You're going to hold the mode button and it will go into the first settings. The first settings are the brake setting. I've got a nice sheet here. It's always good to print it off. When you get the car, when you get the speed controller, you get it out and you get a nice little brochure with it. And this brochure is actually more of an instruction manual. Well, it is an instruction manual. I just said brochure because I was thinking of a word at the time. And in here, we've got various languages which you can look to. So if you're French or you're German or whatever, you can have a little look, as well as various other languages. I haven't really studied that part too much, but we've got the English part in here, which has got a description of what everything does, and I do consult it from time to time. But I'll look at this big chart and talk to you about it and see what you think to my answers. So we start with the brakes. We have auto brake. An auto brake is drag brake. At the end of the day, when you lift off the power, something will be happening. You'll either have nothing happening, which means you're at the 0 mark and the car will free roll as far as the drag will let it. The drag will naturally slow the car down, as well as gravity and bumps and other bits of physics coming in. So we'll worry about that at another point. I like to run a little bit if I've got, especially in modified, and you're getting on the power quite hard, and sometimes you're not as good on the brakes as you'd like to be, or you're lifting off in sections and you would like a bit more steering when you're lifting off, you kind of run a bit of auto brake. And the stock setting with it is, you know, it's at 5, which is the 15% mark, which is on the stronger end of what you'd really want to run. I'd always recommend running kind of like the 9% mark, which is the third flash. So click the setup button as you go through, so you tap it, tap it, tap it. If you're on 0, tap it 3 times, takes you to 3. If you tap it 6 times, it takes you to 6. If you're already on 3 and you want to get to 6, you tap it 3 more times, and so on. And so that's it, nice and easy. You now press mode, that takes you to the next setting, which is brake type. That's one that I've been asked many questions on. And with brake type, you have 4 options for this on your off-road 3.2 software. You've got Semi-X, you've got X, there's BR2 and BDX0, or BDXO. who knows if it's a 0 or no? I'll have to ask Jürgen on that one. But I've chatted with Jürgen many times over the past couple of years that I've got to know him. We've developed a professional relationship with these products, with him running his electrics in Mike Orlowski's cars, and that's been a brilliant combination for us at the track, and it's something that I want to share with you, some of the little things that we've done to get the most out of the cars. So with Semi X, my understanding, and from what Jürgen has explained to me over the years, is that, well, I'll just check the bit, so we'll be correct exactly, because Semi X and X are mirrors of each other. And this is the great thing about them. I really enjoy these settings. I like to run X. That's my favourite setting. But I'll tell you what Semi X does. We'll literally read it out of the manual. So Semi X features a higher speed braking with increased braking force towards lower speeds. So with the smoother high speed braking, that means that when you jam on the brakes, it comes in softer. Okay, and then as the car slows down, the brakes get harder and harder, so it really stops it at that later point. So if you're in a wet condition and you're going in at the end of the straight and you jam on the brakes, it's not going to make the rear end of the car slide out if you're racing two-wheel drive buggies. And four-wheel drive, it won't load up that corner as much as you want it to, or maybe not wanted it to as such. So that's really interesting. Whereas I like the X brake, which is the opposite to the Semi X. So basically at high speed braking you get loads of it. So if you just jammed it out of a corner and then you hit the brakes, it will slow the car down that bit quicker. And then when you get to that slower point, it's releasing that force a little bit more, which means that you have this smoother lower end braking. So with Semi X you get smooth when you at high speed and more aggressive at slow speed. And with the X at high speed you get lots of braking, at slow speed it's like smoother braking, so you're not really stopping the car. So that's a brilliant thing. Then you get to the BR2 and BDX, and it's a similar type thing going on with those two profiles. With BR2 it's a very powerful brake, but you have a very linear braking feel. So as you put in a certain amount of brakes, it will give you that. So it'll give you everything if you ask for everything at whatever part of RPM range that you're at. And then when you get to BDX 0, that's, as it says, that's been developed with the off-road cars. It's a bit smoother, this setting, but still linear. So that's something worth playing with. I recommend going for X if you're a buggy driver. You just get a lot more at the end of the straight when you jam it on. But if it is low grip and it's a bit wet and you're a bit careful going in at the end of the straight, go to the Semi X setting. Check this, have a little read, see what you think of it, and see if you agree at the track. Have a go with it. At the moment you might not be. I'm recording these videos through the coronavirus, so just a quick one. Keep yourself safe. Don't get yourselves into trouble. Avoid going to any place that, if you don't have to, just stay at home as much as you can, and just keep yourselves safe. That's the only thing I could ask from you. But let's continue. Ramp. You wonder what's happening with the ramp. So that's within each of these ranges. So 1 to 3 is within Semi X, 4 to 7 is within X. Then you have actually a smaller adjustment there, but BR2 and BDX share 9 and 12 and 15 and 20. What am I on about? 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. So that's that. When we have a look at them, you've got 70, 85 and SP. So SP is basically everything. So as it says here, it's brake ramp disabled when you have the SP, so you don't have to worry about smoothness coming in of how it comes in. Or if you have the 70 or the 85, depending on which mode you're on, that just, obviously it's a smoother way of even that coming in, so you can really smooth your brake out even more if you want to. So that's one thing that I recommend playing with really, is go for the X setting. I'd have that, so the 6 flash on that one, and that should be good for you. Then we go to initial brake. Again, that's up to you. That's what happens when you first get on the brakes. Is it aggressive or is it quite smooth? And you can turn that percentage up or down. You might find that when you get on the brakes it's too sensitive, so you want to run it on 0, so then it comes in very, very nicely. If you're a nervous driver and you want a really smooth brake, then you'd want to run that one at the 0 mark, and you'd want to run Semi-X and the 7T if you want to make that smooth at high speed braking. But if you want a really smooth car to drive, which has got a little bit less brakes, easy to drive, you want to try the BDX 0 and run it on the number 9 setting. I'm looking at the sheet as I'm looking down, so you want to look at 9th flash, which is the 70 on the curve, the ramp, BDX 0, and then 0 on initial brake. That'd be nice and smooth. Hi guys, I felt the video was getting a bit long during edit, so I thought I'd pop in here. My hair's a little bit shorter, my beard's a bit longer, so I'm looking a bit different. That's why we're gonna do a part 2 video that will cover all the power profiles, and what that will mean is that you've got time to digest what you've already heard, and then you can look at the setup sheets, check out the Facebook page for LRP. They've got a whole load of stuff on there for, like, I think some of my setups are even on there. Check it out, and we'll see you in a few days, and I'll put part 2 up for you to enjoy. Anyway, see you soon, look after yourselves, bye.